Hello and welcome to Be Powerful with Liz and Lee. It's a new day and we're so glad you're here.
So you can expect to hear candid conversations on what it means to be powerful. Live authentically, live in the midst of ups and downs, productively, and above all else, joyfully.
We are so thankful for you, our community of listeners, and we hope you enjoy today's show. Here we are.
Back again.
Hello, my love.
Hi. How are you today? You look good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm good. I managed to lock myself out of my house today. So we're just rolling straight from the studio in my cozy black sweatshirt.
Oh, wait. It's my cozy black sweatshirt. We're
What
in
are
backwards.
they if you give it to me? As in, I'm purging and editing. Here's some.
Well, when I purge
things
and
that
edit,
I don't
you
want.
pick and choose.
And then, is it mine or is it yours?
It's yourn.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll take
You have any
that.
word. Let's go with it.
The hell? I was having such a good day. The kids were happy going off to school. I didn't have to race to the studio because I wasn't taking the first class. So I basically took Anna to school in my jammies, came home to like do a load of laundry and things I don't get to do, and promptly walked out of the house and slammed the door without my bag with keys.
Mm-hmm. So you called me.
And you did nothing.
Well, no.
And you told me to call an Uber.
I was in traffic going to see my grandson's thing at Country Day.
Halloween parade, yeah?
Yeah, that was a while
So
back.
we're past Halloween
exactly.
at this point. So I hope it was fun, everybody.
It was.
Which candies are you going to eat?
Milk duds, period.
Yeah.
Done. Anybody got milk duds? Keep them to yourself because I've already eaten the town away. I promise you that.
Do you have like a 2 and 3, top 3 candies? Go.
Yeah.
Milk duds.
dud. Okay. Is there anything but a milk dud?
Yeah.
No. Milk dud.
Wow.
Period.
I don't know that.
No. Milk dud, raisinette.
It's so gross.
I know, the grossest stuff. I eat the cheapest chocolate there is. You give me a nice piece of chocolate and I'm like, ew. I want the sweet nastiness. I'm sorry. It's the way it goes.
That's like a Concord thing.
It's a 100% Concord thing. Yeah, 100%.
I'm just straight up like Snickers, Twix,
Yeah.
Reese's.
They're always trying at the
Don't
studio.
give me anything like hard or sour.
No. I like the hard and sour. But what I'm trying to like is, back when we used to do on the newsletter, and we don't do it anymore as much as the health tips. I used to try to give a health tip on healthy chocolate, but I realized it wasn't genuine because I actually can't stand it. Okay, so you guys that eat healthy chocolate, congratulations,
Good
and you're
for
better
you.
than me. I just want to say that out loud. I can't do
I
it.
don't think so. You don't have to like it all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's cool. Hope everybody had a happy Halloween. Let's shift.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the good stuff. We were talking about this amongst ourselves. We thought, well, let's share.
Mm-hmm.
Let's share what we get asked often,
A lot.
which I get it.
Yeah.
Is what's it like
To be.
in a same-sex relationship?
Right. And can we just preface that with, we never go up to heterosexual couples and go, what's it like to be in a heterosexual relationship with this guy? But you know what, at the same time, I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
And because we're sort of that mainstream looking normal. Whatever. My name should be Abby Normal, but it's interesting that we get this question a lot.
Right. And people that we don't know off the streets don't really ask us that, but I'm sure they're thinking that.
Yeah.
So, we're not criticizing
lot of
our good
things.
friends who have asked us, because I think that is a regular question coming from someone who's going, well, that's not familiar to me.
Right.
Seems like it's really good. Is it? And tell me everything. So I do think that question has come from where we've gotten it, from a kind place, not a like, y'all are messed up.
No, it has. These are our friends. Yeah.
Right.
These are our friends. If it came from a stranger, I'd say, mind your own business. Right. Excuse me. No.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think shines positive light on a relationship.
I do too.
That people go, hey, what's the magic to this sauce?
I agree. And I think part of it is not about being, and I want to start calling it same gender relationship, because sex just indicates that all we do is sex, which is true, of course. But but it's very interesting. I think it just is an indication that our personalities have changed so much, as in I
That's
think
interesting.
I know for a fact myself that I feel I'm happier and I'm lighter. I'm more myself. I'm more genuine and authentic and expansive and creative and all those things that I think when I cared more about what society was going to consider right or wrong, I was more inhibited to be those things. So
I think we can just sign off now. I mean, truly, that's like so empowering.
it is. But why do you think it is?
Well, as I'm thinking that, I'm going, you're welcome. I'm so glad I've brought you to this place of full freedom and yourself. But the point is that it's
Lee
you,
Canelli.
right? You've chosen a path that is most authentic to what makes you feel full and passionate and light and happy and joyful as a person.
Let's just say this.
Okay.
I chose you, and then the path opened up in front of me. I didn't know that being myself and jumping out of my comfort zone would open a path of such joy and hope and creativity and happiness and joy. And it's not joy, joy, joy all the time, of course, but we have this aura of joy and happiness because it's who we are. Right?
Exactly.
Even though we have like massive spats and things like that. Massive spats. Hashtag massive spats.
Okay, wait. I want to talk. What massive spats have we had?
Nothing except when,
Go ahead.
No. And I'm not going there because I'm not going to pick a fight with you. No, we're just like every other relationship where if you're close enough, well, every relationship that is really close gets super close and you can be sometimes pushing buttons, and we don't have a lot that we push with each other because we're really very good listeners of each other. And I've never actually had that. And, not that the men in my life before you, and you're not a man, you're a woman. It's funny. I said the men in my life before you.
Well, my name is Lee. So
Yeah, that's true. We're great but I think there's a natural tendency between women, or at least good friends, and we're good friends,
right,
to respect and listen to our friends.
Yeah.
So we're that first, and romantic partners second, but now that flips back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, right. I mean, I think that's a fluid, there's no one right way to kind of order those things. I think they all have to be working together. The communication aspect, the conflict resolution aspect, sexual aspect.
Conflict resolution. We have to do that, right?
Well, let's go back because you did say about pushing buttons.
Yes.
So let's talk about when we do have our massive, air quotes, spats.
Massive.
Like how those go down and how we handle it and why that's not a breaking point for us.
Yeah. Well, I just, if it's you that is on fire for something, I watch and listen because it's always fascinating to me. I'm also always surprised when you get mad at me. I really am. I'm always like, because we're so different in our personalities, and I'm like this fireball sometimes that comes rolling into the house, and I've got like flames flying off of me going, and this and this happened, and what do you think of that? And oh my God, you're not wearing that, are you, Lee? And she goes, what did you just say? You're talking to me? And, so we have this personality difference. And then I realize our personalities sometimes conflict and explode into a combustion. And we have to go, oh, that's what that is.
Right.
And then I have to listen for you to say, it's maybe not a good idea for you to frame your words this way.
Well, and I just want to be clear.
I thought I did that really well.
Because I think there's a lot of behind the scenes that is personal. However, when you use the words massive spats and combust, like we don't have, you're so dramatic. We don't have a volatile, combustible, yelling relationship. And for that, I am grateful.
Me too.
and I know you're just, using examples.
Well, I think
but I think what your point
fireball
is,
terms.
fireball terms, high energy terms.
Can we go back to candy?
And I'm sensitive.
Fireballs are really good. That would be number 3. Anyway,
Ew.
yeah, I do love those. But yeah, highly sensitive. Yes.
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 And so there's where I think our most, like while you are rolling through like a fireball or high energy or want to deal with it now and get it off your plate, I move quickly, but I'm more sensitive and also always have to have that settled groundedness.
Right.
And so when you're keeping me like, I lose it. And that just means, stop it. We got to talk.
But I like that when you're really being sweet, you'll go, I just don't feel settled. Will you help me feel settled?
Well, and I think that's, okay, there's one really good tool is to find what between partners is like a keyword or a sign. Like,
yes. That's
alert.
Yeah, that's your key word. So for any couple, I think it's a good idea. Like, what is, always have something. I don't know what if it's called, like a red card. Here's my red card.
You just used a soccer term. That's impressive.
I know. I've been watching Ted Lasso again for the 8th time. But anyway, I wish you'd come out with a new series, please. Anyway,
let them know.
And so we sort of have that.
Right.
Right?
Okay. So yes. So
I think that's a good thing for everyone to consider, to have that.
Do you have one? You don't.
No.
Huh.
I don't. I really don't. I'm lucky. You are really, you're nice to me. I mean, you're really sweet to me. You're very compassionate and you listen. And I think I do too. And your personality is more nurturing than mine. And I hope for you guys that are listening, I'm very nurturing too.
You are.
But we have different ways of showing it. And in day-to-day conversation, mine is more flammable.
Abrupt.
To the point.
Direct.
I don't have a lot of words to use for a point to be made.
And I think because I know how much you care about me and how important it is for me to listen and see that and not take it so personally, which is what I do, I think that's really helpful.
So I think that's helpful for our listeners, right? So I know it is for us, is if you've got a great communication or even an okay communication, then keep trying to make that better, because that's the part of the relationship that leads to the rest of it, which is the romance.
Yeah.
And for women, don't we know that? I mean, women are the great communicators of the world.
We just want to be seen, heard, listened to, held. It's not that complicated.
No, it's not.
But it is complicated if you don't let the other person know
what you expect to.
Yeah.
And so therefore my premise, and I think this is one of my premises about the reason we were going to talk about why people ask us, what's it like to be in a same gender? I'm going to start using that same gender relationship. I go back and forth. I think any relationship, whether it's heterosexual or homosexual, I do like that old-fashioned word because it kind of covers everything. It can be the same. Right. But I have yet to have a heterosexual relationship that has this much compassion and and expansion. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And so there's the question, is that because we're both women?
I think it could be.
Right.
But I really want to be diplomatic and say, no, it's not.
I know.
Because I really want it to not, because I know, in fact, that when I'm dead and gone, you will be in relationships after me.
False.
Well, I know you keep saying you're going to go with me, but whatever. If you just in case you did survive, just in case you're
then I'm
going to
be a spinster. I'm done. This is it.
Okay, if you chose not to be a spinster, I bet there's a man. I bet there is a man or a woman equally able to have a relationship with you in the world.
That's fine.
I don't think we have one person. Maybe, I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm good.
Okay, I kind of like that, but I don't want you to be lonely. So,
well, I will be. But you won't have to deal with it.
Okay, we're not going to talk about that. That's too much. That's too much for me to. That's too much for me to shoulder. That's too much for me to shoulder.
Sweet.
That means I have to live and live and live.
Yeah, it does.
I mean,
it does. We both do.
I know.
We both do, because it is really good.
Do you think it's because we're women?
I think there's a part of that, an element of that. But I also have never really put our genders as as a reason behind the success of our relationship, the ease of our relationship. It is just you. It is just me. Because if I had imagined it or written it on paper, it wouldn't have been you. But there's that soul part of it, I think, is so much more.
I agree. So for all of our friends who have asked us this question, and maybe a lot of our listeners that are not in a same-sex marriage,
Right.
What we're trying to accomplish is to answer that question, but also what makes a great relationship.
Period.
And I do not want to come in here and talk about sex, but I think that if we don't, for a little tiny bit, that we don't understand how integral that is to a relationship, and how I have been guilty in my life of allowing sex to be put on the back burner in my previous relationship. I agree. And I mean to say that is something I allowed, or I even did.
Sure.
And I don't know.
It's interesting.
I don't know. You know, there's something about our communication that leads to that romantic relationship that I've never experienced.
Why do you think?
Oh, gosh. I just think you're sexy. I don't know.
I'll take that answer.
No, I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination of women understand women. I've never been attracted to a woman ever in my life, as I've said 1,000 million times. But now I'm open to, it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, but if you are attracted to someone, then really give yourself. And I think I'll speak from my history, my heterosexual relationships, I would hold certain parts of me back.
There you go.
With you, I'm just a ridiculous open book.
I like it.
And it's kind of freeing and fun.
And I think when we feel free emotionally, mentally, spiritually, then that leads to being physically more free. I mean, I do think couples, not going to even call gender in this conversation, I think couples can use sex or lack thereof as a bargaining chip, as a tool, as a resentment. I mean, obviously.
Raise your hand if you've never done that. Well, by the way, I've never done it with you.
Right.
And that's what blows my mind. Now, granted, we've only been in this relationship, I don't know, 4+ years or something. I don't do the counting anymore. But the fact is things wane. Sexual attraction at some point does wane and wax and do just like the moon, right? But we haven't experienced that yet.
Right.
And when we do, we have the basis and the background, and I have another relationship. So when I did before in previous relationship.
I thought you just said, and I have another relationship.
No,
I'm
I don't.
We're going to talk about this on a podcast for the first time.
We're actually a throuple. This is what we came on to say today.
Yes.
We actually came on. That one gets me. I mean, I don't know if I could ever do that. But I'm never going to say
we're not going.
We're not going there.
No.
Now I've totally lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. You threw me way
the
off.
minute you threw me into that, I think what I was going to say was something about when I was in another relationship, but I allowed
yourself to
I forgot what I was going to say. The throuple, y'all, really. Can we talk about a throuple for a minute? I mean, that's fascinating. I think we should interview somebody that's doing that. Because I am so free now, I don't want to do it, but I also don't want to disparage those that do.
No, of course not.
I just think there's something bizarre. And if community and relationship is what life is really about, and we don't have to be, we're not social scientists, but social scientists do say community and relationship is the key to mental health, emotional health, and all those healths. So if it's that, then is it the more the merrier?
I'm good this way.
I'm good this way too.
Let's talk about what we know.
Yeah, right.
Right?
We don't know that.
I know.
But it's fascinating.
Okay.
Life is fascinating.
It is. And let's try to go back. Let's try to rewind and think about what it was we were talking about before.
Right. We were talking about the fact that sexual tension or sexual desire can wax and wane in a marriage.
Right.
We're not even married, but in a relationship, in a partnership. And so where we have not really experienced that, we're 4 years in, I'm sure we will. I have experienced that before. And when you do, what you have to go back on is what it felt like when it was good.
Yeah.
So you might be exhausted. You might be, oh, I cannot bear to be around this person for one more minute. And if they don't pick their clothes up, then I'm going to burn their house, burn their car up.
Yeah.
Whatever. I used to just get angry about the stupidest things.
But they're real things.
And I still will. I might still do it. But I'm going to take deep breaths and I'm going to go back to that remembrance, that memory. Sometimes it's playing music that was there. Maybe it's just a memory, or it's a cooking of a meal, or it's just a moment that the two of you can stop and sort of just look each other in the eye and go, how important is this?
Right.
We're arguing
Bring some levity to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to look back and try to find the good times, but I also think there's a way to be more proactive. I think that if you do start off with a good sexual relationship, then there has to be that quote unquote work ahead of time. Like if it is already good, then why do we let all those little things build up?
Right. It's
easier said than done.
That's a complicated
if you
question.
go into that.
That's a complicated question.
It is.
Because sex for every single individual is a different degree of importance. And it is also a degree of pleasure. Some people, namely women, and I'm going to call myself out, first one, we think sometimes we are here to give pleasure and not to enjoy it. Well, let me just tell you one thing. You are here to deserve that pleasure because we've found that pleasure. And I feel responsible for not wanting to take that pleasure before. And so if you're in a relationship where you just think, oh God, he wants sex tonight or she wants sex tonight. It's usually the guy, let's just say it. And I'm just going to have to do it. And then you're not doing him any favors. Now he might say you are, but the relationship could be so much richer if you were honest or you gave it a shot. And I think the communication between the two of you is like, honey, can we sit down for a minute? My love language is I just need to look you in the eye and talk to you. Yeah. Or, I think one of the coolest things you can do is have a date together and say you're not going to have sex. No matter what happens, you're going on a date. That when you come home, you're not having sex. That frees the conversation. And then that whole, if you're having some problems in the bedroom or you're just on a cold spell, and who isn't with their busy lives, then that takes it off the table.
Right.
And it also makes you feel a little more sexy toward each other.
Sure. Like the forbidden.
Do you think it does?
Fruit.
I think it really does.
Have to do that. I get it.
We're pretending that we have to do that. We don't have to do that.
No, but I think that's good advice because that's something you might have experienced before. And I think it's a tale as old as time. I mean, you said we always have to give. You said something about like give pleasure.
Women feel like they need to give.
You can stop after give. Period. We feel like we have to give. And so it's that whole depletion concept at the end of the day. Martyrdom. Like I can't give anything else more. And I think that's what I mean about the proactiveness, the communication of it.
Yes.
Like you've got to find that balance in the structure of the day to day for both people in order to be free and equally giving. And that's hard. It's not going to happen every time. But I think the more you build up the no, the resentment, the stop, the can't, the harder it's going to be to break down those walls, period.
Well, I'm just going to tell you men one thing. If you will give your woman the sexual freedom to let you pleasure her, let her allow that to happen to her, you're going to open up a whole nother world.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be hard for women in your life too, because it was hard for me with a man. It's very easy with me with you. And again, the same old question we have between us all the time is because we're women. And I really think it is.
Yeah.
I really think for the two of us, it is. That doesn't mean for you and your partner, it is. But it works for us, I think, because we're that spectrum couple.
Right.
We really are more attracted, I suppose, to the same sex, to you, to a woman.
To you.
I don't know. I'm speculating on the spectrum. but yeah, I just, one of the things that the whole society we're in is afraid of women's power.
Sure.
And women's power is very her sexuality is a very powerful thing, which is an interesting part
Yeah.
of, the suppression of,
Sure.
rights and freedoms with your body, which is going on in our society now. But I think that stems from a real deep
Absolutely.
part of our psyche that is like, ooh, you let these women loose and they are powerful.
Right.
And they are.
Right.
So
I know. I mean, it is a long line of women having, like we talked about last week, having to play small.
Right.
And so if you don't have any outlet for leadership, for authority, to have a voice, it doesn't mean at all being more powerful or taking over men. It just means to be heard, period. So if in your life there's no room for that, like why in the bedroom would you finally think like, oh, here I am able to hear me roar? Like, no, we don't have practice.
We're not roarers. We're not people that do that. The men are the let me take over. Women just want to coordinate life and they have pleasure and to give pleasure. So if you really release the freedom in a woman and her sexuality and her passion,
right.
she's not going to go, let me rule your life. She's going to go
right ahead.
Let me show you how happy you're going to be. You do whatever you want to, honey. Because,
well, maybe not.
Well, but still, she is going to be like,
yes.
Yeah. It's the power in the two coming together, the power of the yin and the yang, the power of the man and the woman is such a powerful combination of the drive from a man and the acceptance and the nurturing that we naturally have as women. And we all have it, whether it's women and women and men. But I think that's the beauty of the heterosexual love. But it's also so it's messed up right now. For a lot of people.
Right.
It's the role playing that society has chosen, which drives so many people apart and causes divorces. And,
Right. And I think what we've done is created our own 360 of yin and yang outside of what looks,
Who do you think is more
stereotypically
yin?
normal. And I think, wait, which is which?
Oh, right. Okay, here we
Right.
go. 101. 101. Yin is the nurturer, the womanish, it's sort of the feminine energy, but that doesn't mean you're a female.
No,
There's a lot of very yin men, right? And the yang is the drive, is the I'm going to get it done and all that sort of thing.
And it's that balance. I mean, I think the concept, if you just imagine that the logo of the image of what we have literally for yin and yang, it has
my
those
dragon.
curves.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it is rounded.
She's
it's
beautiful.
circular.
It's a girl too. She's beautiful. She just circles around and.
Oh, I was literally talking about like the yin yang logo, like the universal symbol.
You're talking about yin and yang, the logo.
Yes.
Well, it also reminds me of my dragon too. And
That's interesting.
That's interesting. You were talking about that, and I went right to my dragon.
But that's what you relate it to, and it does have that masculine, feminine energy. We talked about this last week too. Masculine and feminine energy, and my point being, like, they rely on each other in a way. They curve into each other. It's a cycle. One can be up, the other can be up or down. And I think if that's a great kind of image.
Oh, it is.
Visual.
And men, if you, I mean, they're missing out on some of their really high wisdom, feminine energy. Right. If they're trying so hard to just channel the yang continuously.
Yeah. Right.
So everybody's going to be a lot happier if we just kind of take some breaths and try to bring it out of each other and, become nurturers and sort of come into, what is the word when you're, excavating? We excavate the feelings out of each other that are the opposite.
Right.
If you've got if you're a man and you've got a really giving partner and she just, and say it's a she, or even if it's a man and that partner continuously nurtures, and you are the driving force of the partnership, then switch places now.
Exactly. I was going to say to practice using a little bit of both. And I know that I don't know anything, but I would imagine,
a lot of things, girl. You're my wise woman.
If you just go fly on the wall in people's households in the day-to-day, what we always get carried away with, the busyness and the roles and the things we have to do in a day, there's not a whole lot of conversation like, ooh, you just exerted some yin energy. Oh, some yang. But I mean, like, what if we could start to talk more like that? This feels good. This doesn't feel good. Ooh, what I see is this. Right. I mean, it's not all about do this for me, do that for me. Right. I'll do this for you. I'll do that for you. I mean, that transactional
Yeah.
relationship.
Take the transactional
needs
out.
to go.
Yeah. If it's going to be transactional, let it be a game. That's
Hey,
fine.
I'd be down with that.
Yeah. And that's where we go back to sex. Sex between partners that really respect and nurture and comfort and take care of one another, and they are trustworthy and respectful for one another. There's no better playground on the planet than having great sex.
Yeah.
I really know that. But you can take that energy that you receive from that communion that sex really is.
Yep.
And you can take that into your community, not the sex, but the community and the energy of that.
Yep.
And you can spread that.
Well, listen, it's very physical, obviously, and I think it directly relates to the exercise, Hilliard Studio Method, movement, right?
Yeah.
So you release endorphins there. That is an energy where you spread more positivity, communion, relaxation afterwards.
Acceptance.
With your friends. Yes.
Acceptance, safety, and exertion. The exertion and pushing yourself where you don't feel comfortable going somewhere, but you've got the safety of that space in our studio. And so we are comparing that
to sex.
And honestly, not only that, to a relationship.
Yeah.
Because that's your community there. And then you've got your relationship in your own family. And then when it comes down to it, to you and your partner. And if you're missing that, then go and find a way to fix it. Or really and truly. And if you can't fix it together, go and get a third party to help you. And if they can't fix it and nothing fixes it, look at each other and be honest about how you want to live your lives.
Yeah.
We did the thing we did. The process we've gone through has been fascinating. And when you live to your greatest potential, you're never going to live it easily, and you're going to have some hard times. It's going to be hard to do. You're going to have people that disagree with your thoughts or your actions. But if you go and find that courage to do it,
if you have somebody to do it with,
that would help.
That would help.
Lucky for me, I have you.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And I think my question was, so your hypothesis is that our relationship feels real good.
Right.
Because we're women or because we're us? What's your conclusion?
My conclusion is because we're us and because we're maybe women. I think I'm erring on that side. It doesn't have to be an answer, but that is since we have gotten that question and gotten it more than it's just kind of been over and over, then I think it's worthy of the answer. And the answer is we're not quite sure, but we think it's the relationship. And again, this relationship started as friends, a lot of years of friends,
lot to do with
without even a thought of this and that. So we set a real groundwork. So if you're the person that got married and in a hot fever, then you're going to have to lay some groundwork, and that romance can last a lifetime, but then you got to become the friend, right?
Right.
And that can be trickier sometimes, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not a marriage counselor, nor should I be. That's a good takeaway.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a good job.
Well, we're doing a good job. And I think we wanted to just say that today and have
so we're doing a good job.
Yeah. Let me pat myself on the back, pat you on the back. And I love you too. And thanks, you guys. This is all about relationship.
All about how great our relationship is.
And yours and ours and the world's. And let's go out and spread this love. Start it at home.
Yeah.
Start it with your people, with your man, with your woman, with your partner, whoever he or she is, and find that way. You're together for a reason. Sometimes we forget it.
Yeah.
Explore that reason. Be gentle with each other and at the same time courageous. And just go after it. Have a
great time in the bed is what she wanted to say.
Go on that date without sex, and then you're going to always want sex after that, right? I don't know.
We'll see. Let us know.
Okay. That was fun.
Love you.
Fun. Love you too.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to us today, wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, you can now find our podcast on YouTube.
Yeah. If you liked it, please share, rate, and review. We love 5 stars. And we hope you'll work out with us online or in studio at HilliardStudioMethod.com.